Hello, hello, good afternoon. It's Monica from Life is Art, and this is the Sunday 3:30 p.m. demo at the Weekend in Whistler online crop. I'm just getting myself centered. It's good to be centered. And let's see if we can get everything in here. Oh, my camera's on a weird angle. Look at that. All right, let's see if we can get this ready. It always is a bit of a challenge because it doesn't show on my video what it's gonna show on the live. Super fun. Alrighty, we are going to be creating a layout with swag this afternoon, and we're going to be using the Evergreen collection, which is the featured collection for the month of December. And I'm just grabbing my catalog here. Oh, stuck in the drawer. Grabbing my catalog. We are looking at this, the Evergreen collection, and it's a beautiful mix of browns and grays, black, greens, beautiful, beautiful papers and patterns. And so we're going to be using some pattern paper, stickers, cardstock, die cuts, all the things. And so let's get started with that. I'm going to begin with a piece of sage cardstock for my base that I have cut out the center. And this is what's called gutting out. And all I did was I put it in my trimmer and I came in 3 inches from the edge. And I just did all 4 edges, popped out the center. So that left me with a 6x6 piece of sage that I can use for something else. It also helps to reduce bulk in your album when you have your layouts all in there. Sorry, I've got hiccups or something. But because I've gutted out the center, that means, as you know, that there will be another piece of cardstock coming in to cover up that hole. And so I'm using the coordinating cardstock French Vanilla. So I'm just going to flip this over and add adhesive. Now, because we have that hole in the center, we need to focus our adhesive on the outside edge of this French Vanilla. So this piece has been cut to 10 by 10. And that means that it will cover that hole and create a nice 1-inch border all around the layout. Now, for inquiring minds that may wonder where I got the idea for this layout, my inspiration was actually one of my own Sketchy Saturday sketches. And it was actually posted last December. So this is Sketchy Saturday, has been around for a year. And I'm going to come in 1 inch from all the sides and stick that down, hopefully nice and centered. And then I'm going to flip it over and we're going to add some adhesive on the back here so that our layout doesn't shift around while we're working. So this is one of my own sketches, and you know what, when I make the sketches, it's not based on all the time, not always based on a layout I have previously made. Sometimes it just comes out of my brain. And so I thought it would be fun to actually create this layout. If you're joining me live, just say hello or howdy in the comments so I know you're here. And if you're watching later on replay, you can say replay. I see that Dawn is watching. Hello, hello. Looking good. Awesome. And so this layout with swag is actually called that because we're going to create a swag. And to do that, I have cut 6 pieces of pattern paper that are 1.5 inches wide and 5 1/4 inches long. And the great thing about this is that we're going to get to use every single pattern in this Evergreen collection. Look at that, all those beautiful patterns in this collection. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dovetail the end of all of these. Now, normally I would just dovetail them one at a time. And I'm still going to do them one at a time, but I'm going to create a pattern for myself. So I'm going to create a little snip here, maybe 3/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to come from the corner to the top of that snip. And then I'm going to come from the right corner to the top of that snip. And that's my dovetail. Now, because I have a repeated dovetail, normally I would just cut them all individually. I am going to use this first one as a pattern for all of them, in that I'm going to snip that first center cut. And then I'm going to put this down, and then, although this one is hard to see, I'm going to use that as my guide to make them all as similar as I can get them. Okay, now, this was my original. I then cut this. I don't then use this one to cut the next one, because you will get sort of the telephone problem happening, where they'll just get different and different and different until the last one looks nothing like the original. If you're doing this where you're copying a dovetail or corner rounding or something, you always go back to the original so that you have the best chance of having them all be alike. And then, of course, we're going to cut to the top of that snip. This is a good one for practicing your dovetails, because you're going to get to do it over and over again. And then again, we're going back to our first one, lining it up. So these are 1.5 by 5 1/4. And we're doing about a 3/8 dovetail. And I find that when I'm dovetailing, making a shallow dovetail always looks better than making a really deep dovetail. So I know a lot of people, especially when the dovetail is long or really wide, they start and they cut like, 2 inches up, and then they're disappointed and they don't like how it looks. Maybe not always, but sometimes they're disappointed. They don't like how it looks because it's too dramatic. It doesn't create the effect they want. So less drama can be created by just making a shallower dovetail. And quite often it's a bit like painting. When you go to paint something and you're putting paint on your palette and you think, oh yeah, I'm going to need a lot of paint. So you put lots of paint on your palette. And then when you're all done, you realize you have so much paint left over, because a little can go a long way. And I think the same is true with dovetails. A little dovetail can go a long way. You don't have to have so much drama. Hey Heather, nice to see you're watching. And my mom's here too. Hello, Mom. And so we're just working our way across, trimming all our dovetails. And there we go. Now, because we said that this is a layout with swag, I'm just gathering up all my little bits. We're going to create a swag. If you know what a swag is, not just, designer stuff and promotional stuff. We're going to create a swag, and I'm going to kind of aim for about 8 1/4 inches up from the bottom. And then for my angle, I'm going to have it about 1/4 of an inch from the edge of the French vanilla, and about 1/8 of an inch from here. And this will kind of line up with the 3-inch line. Okay. Now what I'm going to do to get everything spaced is I'm going to come to the other side and use the same measurement. So we're going up to 8 1/4, about 1/4 of an inch out, and about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Just like that. Now all we have to do is kind of stick these on here and try to make that little gentle swoopy swag. This is not, again, we're not doing big drama here. We're doing a gentle swoopy swag. Try to space them out. I'm spaced out in many ways, but spacing out your banners is a different thing. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to take this first one. I'm going to add some adhesive right at the top and then about a third of the way down. And that's it. I'm going to leave this bottom unattached to the paper because you know what? It can create some dimension that way. So again, we're going up to that 8 1/4 and sticking it on there like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to work my way in from the sides, just like I did originally, and hopefully my brain will keep everything in line that way. So again, start with this outside one, put some adhesive just at the top, just to hold it nice and secure. We're going to come 8 1/4 inches up from the bottom, 1/4 inch from the edge of the vanilla, and 1/8 of an inch. That one might be a little bit too far out. 1/8 of an inch from there. And then we can start sticking down the ones in between, keeping our distance from each other about the same. You know, if we imagine that this is a row of flags flapping in the breeze, you know, they're going to vary a little bit. And what I tried to do when I was thinking about the pattern placement was I thought about the fact that our sage is green. And so what would provide some contrast from the green? So if I put this lovely florally one over here on the green, it would blend in. And this dark green would stand out, but it's still green. So what I did was I went with a couple of the more pale pieces for the outside. And then, of course, on the white, where those pale pieces might get a little bit more lost, I put a little bit more drama on there. Okay, that was kind of my thinking. It's good to kind of know why people think the way they do when they're sticking things down. There was a thought process. It wasn't just random. All right, and again, we're just jumping over to the left side to stick the second one. And I'm kind of looking at the top, judging the distance in between those two, and trying to keep our distances kind of even all the way down. And then the next one. So this is a fun layout in that you get to see all the patterns without filling the entire page. We're leaving lots of white space or French vanilla space on our layout, but we get to see the fun patterns. I like that. All right. And it's nice to sometimes do my own layouts, my own sketches. I don't often go back and make my own sketches. I should start doing that. Alrighty. And this last one going down like that. And that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy. This one got a little bit straight, but in general, it's pretty good. We're going to kind of hide that top line anyway. So I like how the little dovetails are going across. Then we're going to come in with some photo mats, and I have cut 3 photo mats using the pine green. And these photo mats are for 3x3 photos to go on, and they have been cut to 3.5 by 3 3/4. So they're a little bit rectangular. And the 3 photos that I'm going to use, let me bring those in as well, are from a snowstorm that we had here in Brampton. And so here, this is from my front door, looking out across my porch. There's all my chairs. There's my eave from my little porch roof thing, and our little garden. And then kind of down the street, one of the neighbors was out blowing their snow. And so that's going to be one of my photos. Then, so that was looking this way out of my window. Now looking this way out of my front door, sorry, is our truck covered in snow. So you can see the wind had actually blown a lot of the snow away from the base of our truck, but a lot of it was piled on the truck. So that's going to go over here because this was looking to the left, this was looking to the right. So I also have a picture from looking a little more central. There's that same clump of bushes there in our front garden. But there was a lot of white space because snow, in my photo. And so what I decided to do was I went into my photo, um, into my thing that I can mess around with photos, and I actually put the title for my page on my photo and printed it out that way. So my title is already incorporated, plus it kind of made sense of all that white space on my photo. And the reason why I wanted to have these photo mats cut to a sort of a rectangular shape is it kind of has that Polaroid feel, right? You know, the old Polaroids. Now, normally it would be white, but they would have a little bit more space at the bottom, and you could obviously, you know, write some information about your photo on there. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that down, leaving a little bit more space at the bottom. We're going to do the same with all of these. Just add our adhesive there. Take it off. And let me see. Make sure I've got it going the right way. I spun it around a couple times. So again, centering it and having it closer to the top vertically. And we're going to lay these on top of our all of our fun little banners there, which is going to kind of cover up a lot of them, but we know they're there, and it's the effect. We're creating a layered, swaggy photo line sort of effect. Have you ever made a layout like this? I know some of you have, because you actually posted photos of your layouts from this Sketchy Saturday that I got my inspiration from. Alrighty. So we've got that, and then we'll put this one in the middle. So again, we're kind of creating that swag shape just by how we're sticking on our photos. And then let's come in. I'm trying to decide. No, I was thinking about foam tape, but I don't think so. So again, I'm only going to put my adhesive on the top half of my photo, or my photo mat. And then we're going to come over here. We're going to leave a little gap in between, and it's going to come right pretty much to the edge of our layout. We're going to do this side as well. I'm pretty sure that we had a layout in one of the scrapbooking workshop kits one time that had, I think it was a party one, might have been from Let's Celebrate, and it had like little clippies, and it looked like something on a banner line, along with some like those little party banners and things. It's a similar kind of idea, I guess. That's coming to my memory right now, because I think I bought that kit because I like that Let's Celebrate scrapbooking workshop kit. All right, and then in the center here, we're just going to line it up in between, keeping it pretty much straight, hopefully, and it should just sit down there like that. And then we're going to bring in even more banners. Now, these ones we're not going to dovetail. We're going to keep these straight. And so I've got zip strips, I've got pattern paper, I've got some more zip and pattern. Actually, both of those. Nope, that's a zip strip. That's pattern paper. These are both patterns. And they're going to go on there. And we're going to fill in the spaces in between our photos. And one more there. So these are all 1/2 inch wide, but they're various lengths. So 2 inches. I think this one's 1.5 inches. I kind of cut them sort of randomly and then stuck them where I want. 2.5, 2 3/4. I think this one's the longest one. it's 3 inches. This one's 2 inches. So you kind of get the idea. We're varying them. This one will be 1.5 inches. This one will be 2 inches. Okay, so let's stick these on. I'm just going to add, again, just adhesive at the top of these little banners. And I'm going to leave these square. Just like our photos are on square mats, I'm going to leave these banners square. I'm not going to dovetail them. All right, and we want to kind of, we'll overlap our photo just a smidge with that. And then bring in this one. Now this one I have to be careful that I'm not going too far over the edge of the layout. So I actually want to, I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to turn that one a little bit more like that. And then let's add these guys. So this is a fun one if you've got like strips of paper where you've cut larger pieces out first, and then you're left with just, you know, the ends of the papers, because you're just using a lot of scrappy bits to create all these fun little banners. You know, leftover cut bits of zip strips from maybe making a card or something. And like that. It's hard to talk and think at the same time. That says a lot, doesn't it? You can't think while you're talking. I always say think first, talk later. All right, let's layer these ones up like that. I like having this little bit of brown in there, and it's going to get picked up on some of the embellishments in a minute, which is fun. We're also going to be bringing in the sticker sheet to add some embellishing to this. And our last 2 little banners. Yeah, so we're going to use the die cuts for a few things, and the sticker sheet. And we're not adding any bling to this layout. Can you imagine? No bling. Who'd have thought it? I'm just going to leave it as is. At least that's my plan. You never know. Plans change, right? All right, let's add this. We got to make sure we don't go over the edge, or if we do, we have to trim it, which is totally doable. And then this little guy, a nice little stripey from the zip strip, and he'll kind of go over there like that. Now, we've kind of got all these little ends stuck across here. So we're going to hide those. We're going to bring in from our sticker sheet a couple of these fun embellishments, these lovely little star-shaped snowflakes. We're going to add some foam tape to the back of them so we can pop them up. Just a little snip. Stick that on there, and then we'll snip from this one and stick that on there like so. And we also need to bring in our anti-static pouch and just tap, tap, tap on the back of that sticky sticker, and that de-stickifies our sticker so that we don't have to worry about any of those little points kind of sticking down to the page. They'll kind of be held up, and just try to get some of the powder off my fingers. All right, let's bring in this one. And because this has a lot of green, this has a bit of brown. I'm going to put this gray one here where I'm going to put it this way so that the 2 points kind of span in between where all the green is. And then I'm going to put the green one over here where there's some brown. Let's see, I want to go that way. Again, the 2 points are kind of going that way. And now we've got 2 that there's no sticker. There's no sticker the same size. But from our die cuts, let me just grab them. From our die cuts, which have both the craft color and the French vanilla, we are going to get, where did it go? 2 of these little craft snowflakes, and we're going to stick it on a piece of white daisy so that it matches the white on these ones. We're going to kind of create our own little embellishments to add, and to glue that, I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue on my hand. I'm going to grab my tweezers and going to tap, tap, tap into the glue. It taps in the glue, and it also taps off on my hand to get rid of excess glue. And then we're just going to stick that on there like that. I'm actually, yep. Oh, that is white daisy. For a second there, sometimes my lights make things go a little bit more creamy. For a second, I thought I actually had the French vanilla. And so once we've glued that down, we're going to cut it out, and we're left with this nice embellishment that we can add some foam tape to. And stick it on. I can get the backing off. There we go. So again, we're going to go point to point. So the points are following the line of the top of the swag. And then let's fussy cut out this one. You knew there was going to be fussy cutting, right? So I found that the easiest way is to trim down like that and trim down like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go around the point, because these points are rounded, and then down, and then come from the edge and trim this way, and then go around. We're not leaving a halo because we're trying to emulate the stickers, and there's no halo. It's just the colored edge with the white inside. So you can totally layer up those die cuts and create a little bit different look. And this works really well if you're going to be putting, like if you take this die cut that's got all these openings and put it on top of this, your die cut gets lost because all the patterns are showing through. It's a fun look if that's what you want, but if you want it to stand out and look like a separate embellishment, then you're going to have to modify it a little bit by doing something like this. And we're doing our last little point here. And I'm going to just do it over here because otherwise it'll fall on my layout and then I'll never find it. All right, let's add some adhesive, some foam tape to the back of this little guy, this little starry snowflake. I think it's fun to have the snowflakes there because this whole layout is about the fact that we had a lot of snow that one night. As I say quite often, Brampton usually misses a lot of the snow. And so we don't always get those times where the snow is just, you know, wild and wacky. All right, we're going to do a little bit more of that technique. We're going to bring in the sticker sheet. And because we're looking at my street and in the front of my house, I want to grab this little house. Now, this little house is super cute. It's very stylized, but you'll notice about it that it's very pale. Okay, it's you know, French vanilla, white windows, and then the one little snowflake. So if I put this down on my page, what happens? All you see is the snowflake. So we want to do a little something to switch it up. So I've got a piece of pine cardstock here, and I just want to add an edge, just like it would have if the sticker sheet had had a color around it. Whoops. And then we're going to go ahead and cut it out. Now, I want to kind of round my corners so it looks like a die cut or a rounded edge of a sticker. And we're just going to trim that nice little pine edge all the way around, and that will help lift it off of that pale background and make it stand out. We want to make our embellishment stand out. So that is a little bit of a technique that we're doing on this page. We've done it with the die cuts. Now we're doing it with the sticker. And now you can see at least the shape of the house. We're going to bump that up even more. We're going to add some foam tape to the back of it for one thing. So that's going to bump it up. Let's just add a couple pieces on here. We don't need a lot. Plus, I'm going to be tucking some things. And it's easier to tuck if it's not full of foam tape. So let's go ahead and peel those off. Like that. And I want to add this little house. And I actually want it kind of sticking up a little bit above the top. I want it nice and straight-ish. And so that little peak kind of comes out of the box. Just like our swags come out of the box on either side, our little house is doing the same. And then I'm going to bring in a few little bits of die cuts as well. I've got this sort of evergreen sprig here. I'm going to use my liquid glue on my hand and my tweezers to add this on here like that, just tucked in, kind of popping out. And then I want to show you what I've done. I've taken the die cut of the pine cone here. So this is one of the smaller pine cones. You can see those pine cones, you can see the white coming through. That's because there's all these little holes. So I did the same technique that we did with these die cuts, and I put a piece of, glued it down to a piece of mocha cardstock so that we now have that craft pattern showing around and then the mocha inside. And actually, I just glued that, but I want to foam it up. So let's add a bit of foam on here, maybe 2 bits of foam. I'm going to grab them both like that. And it's okay that there's some glue there. We're going to put some foam on the side over here and at the bottom. And the gluey bits are fine because they'll stick to the sticker. Just take the backing off. There we go. And the other one. Oops. Yeah. Because it's got glue on it, the foam tape doesn't want to stick, but it will eventually stick. There we go. And we're just going to tuck that on there like that. Beautiful. And then I also want to bring in a sticker here from the sticker sheet that says, "Baby, it's cold outside." And we're going to put this right along the edge. So I need a little bit of foam tape just on that end. Grab a piece of foam tape, stick it on there, and I'm going to do a little bit of anti-static pouch just on that end, like that. The other end is going to be stuck on the house sticker, so it can stay sticky, like that. And we're going to kind of tuck it under the pine cone, like so. Stick that down. Looking good. And then we'll bring in one more little spriggy, this little craft colored leafy number. And we'll just tuck that in here under the house so it's coming out this other side. Just like that. I like the look of that. And I think that is our layout all done, ready to go in the album. So let's see where we started. We started out with that piece of sage cardstock. We gutted out the center to save some bulk. Then we added on our French vanilla 10 by 10, followed by all of these beautiful patterns from the Evergreen collection, and dovetailing them all, adding on our photo mats to make them look sort of like a stylized Polaroid, a few more banners in between, just random strips and lengths of paper, adding in our stickers and our die cuts as embellishments to fill in those gaps in between and add that little bit of snowflake goodness to these snowy pictures. And then, of course, we created a nice little cluster up here with that cute house that I've been waiting to use, and some die cuts and sticker to add on there. And one more thing that I forgot to do, I wanted to grab this one here that says Winter Wonderland, and I want to add it. I'm going to use my tweezers to help me. I wanted to add it right under this photo in the center to go with the crisp and white Winter Wonderland, just like that. So that's our title for our layout. All right, and then we put that little bit of sticky on the back, and we can bring in our rub and remove eraser and just lift that adhesive right off. Nice little gobby of adhesive, and no more sticky. Ready to go into the album. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that Sketchy Saturday from last Christmas time come together. And be sure to check out the Sketchy Saturday that was just posted this weekend in case you would like a little bit more inspiration for your crafting time. Don't forget, we have our chat and craft this evening at 7 o'clock. There will be one more game posted as well. And then our next crop will be at the beginning of January, I believe the 4th to the 7th. So mark your calendars. All right, have a wonderful rest of the afternoon. We'll see you again soon. Toodaloo. Bye.